Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to the 45th character in this series of videos. Talking about various newcomer ideas, retro, Nintendo, third party, whatever the heck else, of newcomer ideas for the upcoming Smash Bros. Game, Super Smash Bros. 5 on Nintendo Switch, which is only about a couple hours away now from whenever I'm going to be uploading this. The E3 conference from Nintendo, and our first actual glimpse at this upcoming Smash Bros. Game. But even then, I'm trying to knock out as many as I can within the last couple hours, so you all can enjoy me talking about these characters, and we'll see if they get announced or not, whatever, I don't know. But as mentioned in the Lin video last time, character number 44, character number 45 was going to be the first Final Fantasy character we talk about on this list, Terra Branford from Final Fantasy VI, way back on the Super Nintendo. And a character that I did talk about years ago with, just like quite a few of the ones I've actually already talked about right now, with the Smash ballot for Smash Bros. 4. So there you go with that. But yeah, Terra Branford, for those of you that never played Final Fantasy VI, or at least when it came here to America the original time on Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy 3, which they screwed up the numbering way back then. There you go. But there you go. The main character, or one of the main characters from that game, the one before Cloud, for those of you who've never played a previous Final Fantasy game before 7. Just like always, 3 separate categories. Why this character makes sense, what could moveset ideas be that I could think of, and percentage chance I could see him getting in. Okay, so why does Terra make sense to be in? Well, unlike Cloud, and this isn't a knock against Cloud either, because I do still want to see him come back because he's an iconic video game character. She's from a Nintendo Final Fantasy, so she has closer ties to Nintendo than Cloud does. She's also probably one of the more popular Final Fantasy leads alongside, Cecil, Cloud, Zidane, Tidus to some extent, the Hero of Light from the first game, stuff like that. She's one of the more popular lead characters from Final Fantasy, so she has popularity on her side, even though I don't value that as much. For third parties, that kind of has, can easily be a thing. For Nintendo characters itself, the main current day Nintendo characters, not so much, but third parties, I think that makes a little bit more value for them. And just in terms of recency for her, the Final Fantasy VI was included on the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, so at least in terms of more relevant recent appearances from her, besides obviously Wii and Wii U Virtual Consoles, she made a recent appearance in terms of, her game being on the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, so they had value to make that the choice of their game, not Final Fantasy 2/4. They put on, or Square put on, or someone put on 6. They put on 3. They put on her game. So that's the reason why I think she makes sense. She's one Nintendo Final Fantasy that's now included on the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, making her at least a little more recent. They've made remakes of her games, or spin-off side story type stuff, I think, at some point. I know they did that with 4, but I feel they did that with 6 at some point as well, too. And she's one of the more popular Final Fantasy leads. So for a third-party choice, if we ever got another Final Fantasy character, I'd say she at least makes somewhat of a good sense. Not saying us getting another Final Fantasy character is very likely, but it's possible. I think us getting our Square Enix character in general, like a Dragon Quest or Kingdom Hearts character, makes a little more sense than us getting 2 Final Fantasies. But if we ever do get another Final Fantasy character, I think she's one of the more likely choices. So those are the reasons for why I see her making sense to get in. In terms of moveset ideas now, I played Final Fantasy VI, but I never played a whole lot of it, so I'm not fully sure of the capability of her moveset. So I had to do a little bit of research for her to kind of see exactly what she's capable of. But she is a Magitech, essentially, or some sort of, she can wield magic. She's a magic user in her game, basically. Or I think that's what it's called, Magitech. There's some sort of term for her, and I can't remember the exact term. I think it's Magitech, or somehow that's involved in her world for people that can't use magic, but then can use something to use magic. I forgot exactly if that's her or the people that can't use magic can use magic. It's some sort of thing in there. But she's a magic user in her game. She uses sword and magic, so she kind of, she'll be like Cloud in terms of being a sword user, but she has the magic abilities, which Cloud can use, but can't use, because she's more of a magic wielder than he is. He just kind of uses, summon type stuff. So I'm going to pick her for Smash attacks to basically be sword swings, very elegant, very quick sword swing type games. If you played her in the Dissidia games, or if you actually played, Final Fantasy VI or any other spin-off of her in it, you kind of see that she's more of a quick sword fighter. She's not super brutal, heavy damage type stuff. She's like quick jabs, quick slashes, like very quick moves. So she'll be able to do combos and whatnot, but she'll not be able to do heavy amounts of damage with single hits. She has to do combos to do multiple percents of damage. And I'm going to make her sword, because one of the more stronger weapons in her game. Instead of giving her a base sword from the beginning, I'm giving her the Lightbringer. The weapon she'll have is the Lightbringer, which is like the one sword below the Ultima weapon. I don't want to make her OP, so I'm not giving her the Ultima weapon. I'm going to give her the Lightbringer because it's one of the best swords for her in the game, but it's not the biggest sword and the best sword that makes her too OP anyway. So the Lightbringer, which is like a light type sword that uses magic, and she'll sword swing, various sword type swings, very quick, elegant sword swings that gets combo. She's combo heavy, but she doesn't do a whole lot of damage. You just have to be able to master the ability of comboing opponents to do massive amounts of damage, rather than, you know, 1 or 2 singular strikes here doing like 10% damage or whatever. You just have to be able to master her combos and her up sword swings, uppercuts, and jabs, and whatever the heck else. Now, when it comes to her special attacks, that's where all her magic is going to be. Her magic is all going to be in her special attacks. She'll be able to, she's very heavily a fire user, but I didn't want to use, you know, I didn't want to have, you know, Fire-Raga type stuff. You can do that if you really want, like a charge meter for fire, which I think maybe at least the charging B would be fine, because it's either, if you just have B, she does fire. If you charge it mediumly, she uses Fire, and if you charge it fully, she'll use Fire-Raga. So, okay, I didn't mean to originally put that in there, but I'm saying that right now. She has one chargeable spell, and it's her fire attack. Base level, tapping it would be fire. Medium charge would be Fire, and then Fire-Raga would be full charge. Then she uses some other magic spells, like Gravaga, which will basically slow down opponents, gravity on opponents to slow them down. Arise, which I think lifts them up. Then she uses Drain, which would drain life from them, and you can give yourself some healing HP back a little bit. Meltdown and Break. So different forms of attack that kind of, you know, can heal yourself and draining life away from opponents, or they do damage to the other opponents. Arise, Meltdown, Break, chargeable levels of Fire, Gravaga, which will slow people down. Graviga, I think it's actually pronounced. That would be her special attacks, different forms of spells. And since she's mostly a fire user, I'm going to heavily focus on her fire attack being her chargeable, various base levels of attacks. Now, in terms of her final smash, her ultimate attack she gets when she gets to level 99 in the game is Ultima. So I have to make her final smash Ultima. It's her biggest, strongest attack. She'll just summon her spell, she sends it forward, which is like this giant energy field, this energy barrier type shield that just is on the stage. It's like smaller, and then it just grows and engulfs the stage. And if you get caught in it, especially because it'll be a couple feet from her, and if you're smart, you'd go into the middle of the stage, so it engulfs most of the stage, and then you know your opponents can't really run too far. If you can get out of its vicinity, you'll avoid damage. But if you're in that vicinity, you get massive amounts of damage, which will probably blow you off the stage if you have higher percent damage. So there you go. It's just this giant energy barrier. This will be her. This will be the stage. And if you're caught in it, well, you're screwed and you're dead and you're just flying off the stage. So there you go. Ultima will be your final smash. So the Lightbringer sword swings will basically be her smash attacks. I make various spells, her special attacks, Fire/Fire-Raga as her chargeable stuff like Gravaga and Meltdown and Break and Drain and Arise. And final smash will be Ultima, which will be this big just barrier of attack that engulfs the stage. There you go. Now, in terms of percent chance I could see her getting in, it's not very likely. She's not one of the most highest third-party choices. There's a lot of third-party choices, not just from Square Enix, but from any third party that are very more likely than her. But she still has at least a small chance if we just the possibility of it being there. And I'm giving her 60%. Not high, not low. There's a lot of third parties that put above her, like Travis Touchdown I put above her, and Crash Bandicoot, and Bomberman, and all this other stuff, and various third parties going forward. You know, Rayman and whatnot, they're all higher than her because they're all seeming more likely. They're all closer to Nintendo, at least over a longer span of time, even though she is too, but her appearances are mostly only her game, and Theater Rhythm, Final Fantasy, and whatnot. Other appearances aren't really Nintendo-based, really, and she only has so few appearances as is, because the city is not on Nintendo, not yet anyways. And there's that. But she has popularity on her side. She's like one of the next major Final Fantasy characters to add if they pick anyone else besides Cloud, but I don't see them doubling down on third parties. You know, franchises, companies, yes. because they've already dealt with Capcom. But franchise, I think Cloud's our Final Fantasy rep, and the next Square Enix rep will either be someone from like Dragon Quest or Kingdom Hearts or something. So it's different franchise representing companies, but not the same franchise characters. So 60%, because if we go into that timeline where Sakurai feels like picking it happened, but the percentage chance of us going off that beaten path is very unlikely, but anything can happen, and I do think she is deserving of it, so there you go with that. And that's it for Terra Branford from Final Fantasy VI here in my list of characters, and is number 45. And going forward, character number 46 is going to be Isabelle from the Animal Crossing franchise. Put in the comment section what you guys think. You guys like Terra Branford? You want to see her in? What are my reasons, my moveset, my percent chances? Do you agree with it, disagree with it? Put it below what you think her moveset should be, her percentage chance, 60 too high, too low. Reasons you think she deserves to be in, or does she not deserve to be in? I have no clue. That's it. My name is Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. And stay tuned for character number 46 when we jump into Isabelle from Animal Crossing.